Hello guys, this is Goodlike, and we're back to Rant Souls. I've now officially decided that's what this is gonna be called, so if it's not called Rant Souls, it's gonna be really weird, because I still haven't edited anything. In fact, in this last 4 days I've played apparently approximately 15.5 hours of Dark Souls 3, which has put a lot of, progress on the playing and stuff. It's hard to believe that 4 days ago I could barely walk through the fucking cathedral, and now I've killed the fucking Lothric brothers or whatever. Anyway, let's review perhaps the last time. Not quite, because there's still the 2 DLC. I'm definitely gonna do DLC because I fucking paid for it, so I better do it. This also, well, depending on how good the DLC is, which I don't have high hopes for, but it'll solidify my opinion that DLC is bullshit. If I hadn't bought the DLC, I'd pretty much be done with the game after one more boss. It's a shame. Now I have to do the DLC because I bought it. Blech. So, let's review the last session. The last session started off with me picking up some items and then going off to Anor Londo. I don't have anything negative to say about this place. It's basically par for the course for Dark Souls 3, which means it's pretty meh, but it's not the worst. I don't remember being very upset about it. I think it helped that I just had, started using the new weapon, which is a lot better than I thought. So I didn't actually cover Sullivan's defeat, so let's cover that, because Anor Londo, whatever, it was fine. But Sullivan, come on, man. All those fucking tries, all that fucking bullshit, and then I fucking decide, fuck this. I'm just gonna get the best equipment I can get, to set up the best situation I can that is consistent. So I even pull out magic weapon and everything. And even then, with all the stops pulled, I could barely two-hit kill enemies with a fucking greatsword, which fucking, I was like, what? What? What is this game that I'm playing? Is this New Game Plus? Did I accidentally start New Game Plus instead of New Game? What the fuck is going on? I mean, that's kind of my thoughts throughout the entire fucking playtime. All the time that I played Dark Souls 3, I was thinking, did I accidentally somehow hack my way into New Game Plus? Because this feels like New Game Plus. But whatever, I digress. Turns out, having a good weapon that can A, actually stagger with attacks, B, actually does damage instead of paltry amounts, is actually a really good proposition. So ended up immediately killing him, because that's really all it took. Like, I already knew the fight, and it was just a matter of getting lucky enough that he doesn't use the skills that are completely, absurd to actually avoid from my perspective. And because I had a strong weapon that could also stagger and even kill his fucking clone ones, holy shit, I pulled it off. Because he simply didn't have enough time to pull out bullshit that would get me killed. So that's fine, but seriously. What a shitty fight. I found a shittier one, unsurprisingly. I was almost expecting that to happen, but yeah, it's just... I've already talked in the last Rant Souls how this is just not a good fight. Not a good fight for me. Not a fight that I want to fight, not a fight I enjoy, or even... I don't even feel good about winning. You see? It's like I win, but I know I won just because I luckily happened to come across the specific attacks, and not because I figured something out, or I saw through the boss. Because there's nothing to see through, just a bunch of combos you have to memorize. But I already drove that home last time, so let's move on from that. So yeah, again, Anor Londo, whatever. Next thing was the jail place. The Ithril dungeon, or what have you. It started off pretty cool, but then the fucking jailers happened that drain your life. But they don't just damage your life, which would still be relatively okay. Now, they reduce your maximum life for no apparent reason. there seems to be no way to prevent this other than killing them faster. Which in a game where they have about 800 hit points is not an easy task to pull off. Even if you're running with a fucking Ultra Great Sword buff with fire, still not easy enough. But Jesus Christ. I mean, who thought that was a good idea? Who was insane enough to make the character lose maximum health for insane durations as well, not just like a bit. You have to actually wait for some time for it to go away. But also like make you weightier and unable to move? Seriously. Fucking... what? Thank God that you can skip most of them, assuming you know where you're going. Ugh. What's the thought process here? Assuming there is a way to get rid of that effect, it's clearly not obvious, and it contradicts all common sense. Even killing them doesn't get rid of it. So it's really fun then later to fucking run into 6 of them in one room. You're like, what are you supposed to do here? Like, what's the game plan? Well, obviously you just run past them. Because doing anything else, other than maybe shooting them with arrows from so far away that maybe they don't affect you, is just a waste of time. You literally just hurt yourself in a way that's irreversible for a certain period of time for no reason if you fight them. It's such a fucking stupid enemy that it completely emphasizes what's so stupid about this game. That they make enemies so fucking hard to kill, but then relatively easy to skip. So, I would say anyone who actually engages these enemies most of the time is wasting their time and being an idiot. Souls? You don't need that. You could just find the most efficient place to farm and farm there instead of killing them all. Items? Run in, grab them, die. Who cares? That's faster than killing them all and then looting. So, what's the point of fighting these enemies? At least in Dark Souls 1, I mean, yeah. Not only there were not that many enemies in the first place, you, assuming you had a decent weapon for the area that you were going for, you easily could dispatch them in a hit. In a well-placed hit. Here, I'm playing with like fucking ultra great swords and fucking buffs, and I can barely 2-hit them if I'm at full life due to a gimmicky ring. And even then, that doesn't count for all of them. I don't have what to say. But whatever. The area beyond that was pretty short. It was the giant area. The actual giant fight is actually probably one of the most Dark Soulish fights ever. Aside from the whole you have to equip the weapon and attack him with a special attack, which I think you could fit that gimmick into Dark Souls and not feel out of place. I feel like he is like one of the most Dark Soulish fights. Of course, it's a very fucking easy fight. It's not a hard one, but it fits right in. You could spice it up a little and wouldn't be out of place. Immediately after that is the Dancer of the Burial Wally fight, which I had read about because I previously read up about the areas I was in, and I saw the Dancer boss as something you revisit, and I saw the scenario in which you revisit. I kind of forgot about it until it actually happened. Yeah, it makes little sense that you randomly teleported all the way there for no reason, and then you have to fight the boss. Obviously I didn't fight the boss, I just teleported away, spent my souls, and then fought the boss. But I can imagine that people who don't know this would run into this fight and then probably die, because if you wasted any resources on the boss, the other guy, for one, you're probably still using that shitty weapon that you used to kill the giant. For two, you probably used some Estus, and now you're faced against the fucking Dancer. Admittedly, I thought it would be a really hard fight because I've heard, well, read, obviously, about that fight a little, because I was interested. Oh, can I, instead of going elsewhere, go do this special fight? Because if you kill the NPC, you can do the fight immediately and then go to Lauder Castle. But apparently there's no real point in doing that, so I opted not to do that. But I did know it's there, and I knew that it's, like, apparently hard. Turns out it's not that hard. The only thing that it had for it was the fucking 6 or 7 spin attack. It was completely ineffectual most of the time, because it is not, because the boss is very slow, which, I don't know, again, it seemed like a reasonable boss, but then again, I didn't feel like I experienced it fully, because I just owned it with prejudice. Yeah. After that we had the Lothric Castle. It's a bit convoluted, a bit silly that the exact same enemies now have, like, double the damage and health. You could have at least changed them a little bit if you're gonna do this. Like, consider the Duke's Archives in Dark Souls 1, where you face the same hollows that you faced, like, in Undead Burg and what have you, but they're crystal, so they do more damage, and they're tougher. So it makes sense. Nah, just put the same fucking dudes. Maybe they won't notice. Maybe you'll have forgotten, because you'll have died so many times to get to this place. You'll have forgotten how those hollows look. Yeah, no. Beyond that was the Dragon Armor boss, which at the time I was kind of upset that it was like two-shotting me, but thinking back to it now, looking at it, it's basically like third to last boss, technically, so I guess it's not all bad. You could say that it's late game enough where maybe it would warrant that. Of course, I do feel like two-shotting with normal attacks is still a little bit rough, especially when they are so fastly comboed, but, you know, that's the overall game design. What do I know, right? Yeah, it was just another memorize a few combo timings fight, but it was spiced up with the random creatures doing random stuff. At the end of the day, I still have no idea what those creatures do, other than they did spew shit randomly. Obviously not randomly, but in a pattern I could not determine on the fucking floor, and I spent a lot of time avoiding that shit, which has led to a lot of deaths in there. Not all of them, but some of them, I suppose, where just the fact that I was trying to figure out, are these dragons gonna fuck me over? And ultimately they really don't do much. And I call them dragons because it's a dragon armor, it's in a dragon place. Fuck you, they're dragons, I don't care. And then we arrive at the archives. I don't like the archives. It's mostly the fact that it reuses the same ambush after ambush after ambush idea that just is so incredibly annoying to deal with that I can't. But, you know, it spices it up with, like, constant attacking enemies with tons of range attacks and shit. It's just such a fucking clusterfuck in the second portion of it. Like, the first portion is the bottom floor, it's alright. But then you go to the second floor and it starts with the curse arms and with and it's just like, God, I can't be bothered with all that crap. I really lost, like, my temper there, because I had just grown completely tired of, like, fighting hordes of enemies after hordes of enemies after hordes of enemies. If this was like the first level in the game that had this kind of design, I think I would have been a bit more appreciative of it. But since we've been through this over and over and over again, with archers shooting from far above while you're attacked by 3 different fucking assholes or more, I just can't muster in me the interest to care about, like, doing this properly. What do I mean by that? Like, obviously if you took it really, really slowly, like killed everything meticulously using ranged weapons and all that crap, you would probably progress deathless through 90% of the content in Dark Souls. Most of the time in Dark Souls 3, what I'm speaking of, it's the fact that you rush in and try to, you know, actually play the game, that you get punished for it. And it's true. Every time you move in to do some fighting, oh, there's another ambush, there's another archer, there's another magic casting guy, there's another guy that will instantly kill you if he touches you, there's another guy that will debuff you for like a fucking minute that will constantly bleed you to death or some bullshit. If you really take Dark Souls mechanics into mind, that just punishes playing Dark Souls and promotes just shooting everything from far away and running away constantly. I mean, literally, why would you play any other way? What's the point? Because if you do that, you'll end up like I end up. Dead over and over again by random crap falling from the fucking sky. And, yeah, if you, like, know by heart where all the enemies are and, you know, how many hits does it take to kill them and how well do you stagger them, if you have all that information in your head somehow, you can probably do them rather efficiently. But nobody's gonna have that when they're first playing Dark Souls, so I sincerely doubt anyone will say, hey, you know what you should do before playing Dark Souls? Memorize every single enemy placement in the fucking game so that you can play it properly. Yet, to play it properly, that's what you have to do. Otherwise, you're just running into more and more bullshit along the way, because it spams enemies left and right. And the Archives just was kind of like the culmination of all that, and all the way to the Lothric boss, all the way to there, it's just So then we arrive at the Lothric boss. My fight with Lothric boss. I did the first 2 tries, and then I just did an hour of playing off without, like, you know, while recording but without talking, because what else is there to be said about that fight? It's complete utter. It's the worst fight in Dark Souls, period. Bed of Chaos, you think that's a bad fight? Pfft, not even close. This is literally the deepest shit that you can get. And it's not even a very complicated reason for it. So, first of all, obviously, the enemy fucking teleports. So, positioning, completely irrelevant. You know, positioning, one of the, like, really important things in a game in which you control a character, thrown completely out. Who needs that shit? But wait, there's more. It's not just teleporting. He also has multiple teleporting combos. What this means is the enemy will teleport and then do a combo with the teleport. Sometimes he'll teleport in the middle of a combo, but that's a bit less egregious, I guess. It's like when they start the combo with teleportation. It's complete and utter ass, because there's like 3 different things he can do, and all 3 of them are on different timings. One of them is basically as soon as he teleports he hits you. The other one is like teleports then slashes, and the third one is he teleports and then stabs with a lunge. And again, all 3 different timings, different directions, different way to dodge them. But the first one that I mentioned is basically instant, which means as soon as he teleports you need to dodge, otherwise you risk getting hit by his instant attack. But if you dodge, and if it's not the instant attack, then his slower attack will hit you before you can dodge again. And as far as I can see, they're literally exactly the same. If there is a difference without locking on, I don't think it's possible to determine. Maybe you can see it when you lock on, and that way you can follow him, because I saw a video, I checked it out. Is this really that insane? But no, at least when he teleports with lock on you can see him. But holy god, it's pure luck. Unless you literally outlevel or outgear this fight to the extent that you can tank all the damage or block it with your shield, regardless of what it is, and you can just, you know, wait until they've exhausted all possible moves and then hit them. It's pure luck. It's pure luck. Well, in my case, it's pure luck because I have to guess which attack it's going to be. If I guess wrong, I get hit. I would say it's 1 out of 2. I think it's 50-50. If I get it right, if I, you know, dodge immediately, then I avoid the quick attack. If I dodge later, I avoid a slower attack. I guess it depends on how likely each of them is. So maybe it's more like 33-66. I really didn't internalize this until now, because I actually was probably closest to rage quitting in this game ever during this fight. Like, I've been pissed and said, oh, I may quit the game or something, but those were like angry, but not ragey. It's just like, I'm pissed, But I understand why I'm pissed, and I want to quit because it doesn't make sense to continue being pissed. This was just complete, utter rage, because literally it's a fucking coin flip as far as I'm concerned. You guess it right, you get hit. You don't get hit, you guess it wrong, you get hit. And then there's more. So I read up about this fight before doing it because I was not gonna go in and die over and over again just to figure out some bullshit again. Turns out, as some of the tries also have shown, if you kill him, the elder brother who keeps attacking, the younger brother Lothric will just keep resurrecting him. The real way to win is to kill the younger brother. So for one, I've reserved to constantly try and attack the younger brother over the elder one, as much as possible anyway, which led to a pretty efficient kill, I think. And there was at least one more attempt which was really close, literally like a sliver of health left on Lothric, and he used this stupid fucking beat. So he has the magical attack that causes about 5 or maybe 6 even waves of beads that do mediocre damage. Like if they all hit you, they're gonna hurt, but if they don't all hit you, they're not gonna hurt. And they come in waves as if to fuck with you more. Worst thing is, the enemy can continue attacking during this whole time. So you have, just so you understand, you have an enemy that causes 5 tracking attacks which constantly hurt you, and then on top of that he will start teleporting all over the place regardless of where you run and start attacking you, meaning that you have to effectively dodge him and the beads at the same time. So if they line up just the wrong way, you're gonna get hit by some of them, and if you just happen to get staggered by, like, say, the beads, you're just fucked. Again, unless you have enough health to just tank it all out. That's shit. The other fights in this game that I didn't like because they weren't for me. It's not that I think this is completely worthless gameplay and no one can enjoy this. I realize now, okay, people enjoy this. For some reason, I don't understand why do they enjoy this. Why do they like memorizing combos so much? Who knows, but I like it. But this fight doesn't even have that. This fight is just literal coin flips. If you're lucky enough that he will use the correct attacks, or not use the attacks that basically kill you off. Alternatively, over gear, over level, but does that really count? I don't think that should count for designing. I don't think a boss fight should be designed to be over level. That even doesn't make sense. It clearly just means that then the boss fight is clearly over tuned because you need to over level for it. If you don't over level or gear this fight, it's pure coin flips if they use the correct attacks or they don't. And then, if you're lucky, you can avoid them. If you're not lucky, you can't. I saw some clips of a person beating things like Abyss Watchers and Pontiff even without using anything. Meaning, no dodging, no healing, just pure, avoidance. So, in theory, I assume that the person may have also done this with this boss. But I guarantee you that at the very least, they took some damage during this run. Either they took some damage during such a run, assuming they even managed to do such a run, or they just got incredibly lucky and the enemy just never used the right attacks. I suppose I should mention that there are some pillars in the room, so maybe if you know that they're coming, you can position yourself behind a pillar somehow, or behind 2 pillars, so that those attacks would almost never hit you. But I just can't imagine that, because, like, imagine, okay, you need to dodge the attack, but you can't dodge, you need to run around it. There's only one way to run around it, if he teleports, right? And you have no idea which attack is gonna be after he teleports, unless it's not random at all, but I don't think so. How do you position yourself that none of the fucking attacks of those hit you when they're all homing attacks? I mean, why am I guessing this? Let's just see if there is such a thing. No roll, dodge, parry, block, or teleport. What does it mean, no teleport? Apparently, you can win the fight without teleporting? How does that make sense? Hey, he took some damage, although he's doing it on the first. Ah, he is using healing. who cares about healing? There we go, this is the guy. And no rolling, blocking, or parrying. What about healing? Obviously he's level 1, but I mean, with the right weapons, he's doing like more damage than I do, almost. He's more or less using the same strategy that I was doing on the first phase. He's just luckily avoiding all the strikes. Yeah, he just basically nuked the first phase and he almost never attacked. Because his weapon is so goddamn fast and does so much damage. Okay, so part 2. Wow, he fucking stun-locked the teleport. Yeah, so this isn't even the matter of luck. He just had so much DPS with the weapon that he was using that he could just fucking destroy them in half the time I could. Like, if I had that weapon with such a super fast attack rate with that damage, yeah, probably would have destroyed them too. Obviously, I would have used dodge rolls. The point being, yes, you can definitely do that fight. And I saw the way he used the way he avoided those. I don't know, it still seemed like it was just lucky enough that he could move away around those in such a way because the enemies used the specific attacks, but it could be not luck in the first time he does it. Because, for example, I too know the trick. I learned it by trying. If you stand still as you run into the room, then his first teleport fails and he teleports nowhere. So you can use that to your advantage to avoid the first teleport, and then if you nuke him down before he teleports again, yeah, it's an easy fight. Of course, if you remove the teleports from the fight, it would be an easy fight. But that's exactly what I'm complaining about. That's exactly what I said. That this fight has stupid RNG teleports that have different attack patterns that you cannot really predict, at least not without locking on anyway. I don't know I don't know how it would work with locking on, and I will never know. Never, ever. Perfectly illustrates my point. Yeah, just take away the teleports, keep hacking at his back, done in a minute. But that's the problem with the fight, that it has those attacks that it will more than likely use. Yeah, so I was speaking about pillars, and one thing I wanted to mention is that these pillars are shit. There was one time where I assumed they blocked the magic, but I'm not sure. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. But I also tried to use them to block the boss, and obviously that didn't work. He just stabbed right through them. I mean, they do phase through it. His weapon phases through the pillar. I'm just saying that that was like another reminder that this is shit. In any other fucking normal fucking game, you would use the pillars to your advantage to hide behind enemies and what have you. Not in this one. In this one it's just like kind of useless. Whatever. Enough about that shit. I think I've made my point, and if nothing else, this complete ass boss fight has completely solidified my decision to not play New Game Plus and not play any more Dark Souls-ish games from Software anyway, going forward. If I had any doubts, I don't have any anymore. Trust me on that one. So next up is the DLC, and after the DLC I'll do the final boss. So I believe that's where we are in the progress. I do realize that there are some optional areas that I could go to, but I don't care. I didn't pay for them extra money, so I'm not gonna do them. I'm not bothered at all. Fuck those areas. They're probably just gonna contain some more annoying shitty bosses that for me to rant at. So let's just skip that. Let's go to the DLC. DLC is said to be the best content in Dark Souls games. At least in Dark Souls 2 people say it's the best thing. In Dark Souls 1, I assume at the very least people liked it. And going by that trend, you would assume that Dark Souls 3 is the greatest DLC ever. Maybe I'll even like it. Who knows? That'll be a discovery for another time. Thank you guys for watching and listening, and I'll see you later.